Yeah, so we went to the border with Sheriff Lamb's kid, Cade, and we took some politician from, I think, where, like, Washington or Seattle? Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Don Powers.
And Don fucking Powers, yeah.
That's right.
And shout out to Don Powers. But went down to the border, and we're, just driving around and stuff, and there's, NGO camps everywhere, and there's, whatever. These little old white ladies helping these fucking military-age males, like, giving them blankets and
oranges,
all this shit. And I'm like the downfall of America is going to be little old white women. Like, but we get to this one spot that's like this. It's just this hole that's about as big as this table, and right across the border road, there's just piles of paperwork and shit. And like we go over, start rummaging around it, and it's like, oh, this guy's from Angola. And then you look his name up, and it's like, oh, federal watch list, and like they're just dumping their paperwork right there
the minute they get in,
and boop, just disappearing into the country.
I mean, there was stuff from Sudan, China. Yep. I mean, all these crazy places. It wasn't just like, Jalisco, Mexico, or like, it was all these countries that were like overseas. Like, it was nuts. And they just dump all the shit.
Oh, dude, totally. It's catch and release, man. And nobody's catching anything again.
Well, they're not even doing it anymore. We stopped and talked with Border Patrol. Border Patrol has effectively become like an Uber or a taxi service for the people that are walking over. So it used to be forever. Like if you like hop the border, you're obviously trying to hide. You know, you're trying to like ditch and stay away from Border Patrol. Now they are looking for Border Patrol because that's their ride into town to get processed and in. Because, dude, it's very difficult terrain down there. It's very steep fucking hills. It's hot as shit, obviously, or cold as shit. It's a tough hike for a lot of people. So when they come over, now they're looking for Border Patrol because they want to go get water and oranges and go make it. Like, that's their ride. Yeah. It's completely flipped. It's so weird.
Dude, I have a client, Zach. He actually just was the first whistleblower on the Border Patrol. And he just talked to a bunch of senators. He came rolling. He's doing the podcast.
See that guy from Boston?
Yeah. Dude, that's him. Yeah, that's my boy. He's my client for like a year, dude. And he goes, dude, what do you think? We were kind of talking about it. He goes, dude, I feel like God's calling me to do something. Like I can't. He goes, they were getting briefed up with MS-13 verified gang members. I mean, blasted faces. And they're like, let him go. He's like, dude, we're not. They're like, hey, briefed up from the top down brass is to let him go. Verified or not. Yeah. That's crazy.
It totally is. And that's why it's like not that Border Patrol is giving up. Like they're told to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, dude, it's dudes don't want to lose their jobs. They got mortgages and shit. And he's like, but so they're really getting painted into a corner. They're like, oh yeah, you're not going to do it? Well, stand by. And he got his gun taken, man. He got his badge taken and everything, bro.
I just listened to him. He was on some prominent podcaster or something recently, and I heard him talking, and they're like, just be careful. He's like, he's really from Boston. Then when he started talking, it was like, oh shit, he's really from Boston.
Yeah, man, he's a hardcore caddy. He grew up, tough, man. Both his brothers OD'd. Dad was in kind of some gangs and stuff, so he kind of grew up tough, but he kind of went the other direction. And he was down in Arizona working for a long time. Then he was up on the northern border, and James O'Keefe just did a documentary on him specifically, talking about what it looks like on both borders. And man, it was all bad news.
Damn, dude, we should connect him with Cade.
Yeah.
So Cade Lamb is Sheriff Lamb's son. He's the guy that took us down to the border. Knows every inch of that damn thing. It's amazing. And that's, if you're going to go down there and look at it, like anyone that's listening, go hit up Cade, because we didn't even know. Like, you go down there, you don't want to take your POV. Yeah. Like, you don't want your license plate. You don't want to be on cameras. You don't want the cartels or anything, none of that to see you, because we were there. Dude, it was nuts. I was wearing a vest the whole time. We didn't probably have to, but I was like,
might as well.
I don't know. Why the hell not? And it was nuts. We were literally sitting on the border looking over into Mexico and being glassed by cartel guys.
Yeah, damn.
Crazy. And so we had our binoculars and like, we have rifles on us right now.
Yeah.
Weird fucking feeling.
Yep.
Especially
like
for
move Mr. Powers
you're
behind the rocks.
Yeah.
Let's just
it's like we got a politician and we're just regular dudes, but it's like, it's a weird feeling to stand there and know that there's a rifle on you.
Yep.
Yeah, and also they're doing, using facial recognition software. They're not primitive, man. They're they're like, I knew some Border Patrol guys, how they had their family, like, hey, we know who you are. You're going to let this stuff through and this is going to happen. Man, they're powerful, man. Their reach is for real.
Oh, for real. And then literally, I think it was 3 days later, we got a video from the same area that we were in, about a 30 truck caravan of, what do you call the little Toyota trucks with the guns in the back?
Hiluxes,
man. Yeah, Hiluxes. It was like a whole parade of those fucking things right in the same spot. So
Men
like,
only want one thing.
I was
and
like,
it's
dude, yeah,
gross.
we had a vest and like a couple rifles, but not for that.
Yeah, that's
Are you kidding?
that's war zone.
That's
Yep.
war zone
Yeah.
material. It's wild. Yeah, dude. All right. So, hey, before we kick this off,
Dude, I love when we kick it off like that, bro.
yeah,
Just right
before we
into it.
kick it off even farther,
Yeah.
yeah, this episode is brought to us by Earn Your Booze. This episode of the Earn It All podcast, we're going to talk about a handful of different things on how to earn the good and the bad in life, because no matter what you get, it is earned.
Yep.
But at Earn Your Booze, man, that's where we really teach people how to get their whole life squared away. So if they do decide to drink or have some fun or do whatever, we want it to be adding to an already awesome life.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
not using booze to just kind of like create the fun, awesome life.
Yeah,
you know?
I totally get
So we
that.
were, fitness, nutrition, mindset, live coaching calls every week and all that. So happy to talk about that a little bit to kick this thing off. But want to introduce everybody to Mr. Taylor Cavanaugh. What's going on?
Chilling. Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah.
Man, thanks guys for having me, man.
Yeah.
You invited me out to Arizona. I love it out here. Any excuse to get out here, I'm here.
Yeah. I saw you on, I'd seen you around a couple places. I think I saw you with Wes.
Yep.
But then I saw Matt Cox's interview with you, and that was the first one I watched, and I was like, I just got fucking dialed into it. I was like, holy shit, wait a minute. Like, I've seen this dude around. Like, I seen your stuff around and everything. And I was like, I listened to the whole thing. I was like, holy shit. And like, you have a fucking crazy story.
It's been a journey, man.
Yeah,
it's been a journey to this table, bro.
And
I just saw you with my buddy Ryan Williams.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Ryan,
so I hit
Ryan's
him
my
up.
boy.
He's awesome. I was like, hey, man, Taylor's coming on the podcast. I was like, you got any fucking crazy stories to tell me? And he was like, no, you'll be good, man. Just have fun,
Dude, Ryan, the interesting little story about Ryan and I is he was my instructor in SQT.
Okay.
That's how we met. And so he was the blue phase instructor. And so he was teaching combat diving and all that, like marine operations. And I come in and it's like one of our first days of SQT. He taught a nutrition class first, excuse me. So it was the first day and I was late. And I've never been late in the military ever. And I had went out with some stripper or something. Sorry, babe. But I went out and we stayed out late and I just overslept, man. And my phone went off and I was like, oh my God, my fucking world is like, I'm
over.
So I'm speeding across the bridge, dude. And he meets me outside and he goes, are you fucking serious? And I said, look, man, he goes, why are you late? And I just told him the truth. I was like, look, man, here's the deal. And he goes, the only reason this is going to be okay is because you're completely honest with me. He goes, go jump in the bay, full camis, completely soaked. And I sat in the classroom and froze my ass off in January for like 8 hours.
In the chair soaking wet?
In the chair soaking wet all day long. But I earned it, man. I earned that.
That's right.
But it was, a way to burn off some karma.
Was she working at that particular establishment underneath the bridge in San Diego?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Dude, I think that's a good punishment. Yeah. Like, shit, maybe I should do that to myself sometimes.
Yeah, dude, chili dip. He goes, hey, chili dip.
Yeah, chili dip.
Yeah, man, it just reminds you what you're there for.
Yeah, people go to the West Coast and think the water's going to be warm for whatever reason. People from the East Coast are like, oh, it's the Pacific, whatever.
Dude, we get that Alaska current, bro. That Alaska current's coming south.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Real. Yep.
So you're referring to SEAL training.
Yeah,
I'm assuming, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's start back even a little bit before that, because you've had it sounds like in a couple different institutions, into different branches of military for different countries.
Yeah.
And you've had a really, from what it sounds like, crazy eclectic kind of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do that got you eventually into joining the Navy?
So
what was happening before that?
So I knew I wanted to be a SEAL from a super young age.
Okay.
That was like, I'm sure all you guys know, it's like, if you want to be in the military, usually that seed's planted pretty young.
Yeah.
Dudes are playing in the building forts, but it was like, we're doing it for real. Like I was training, bro, at like 7, And so, but I was just fascinated with men with green faces, that Vietnam era. Our era too, man, it was like Rambo and fucking Schwarzenegger and Jungle, and that was Predator, and we were kind of raised in
the Marine Corps commercials were a dude fucking killing a dragon.
Yeah, dude, bro, it ain't like now, bro. So it was that masculine edge,
right?
And so I knew I was going to go into that, and to kind of speed up into it, high school sports, things get sidetracked, and I was like, well, I got to go to college. My grandfather was a captain in the Navy, and they were trying to get me to the Naval Academy and all that, but I got kicked out of school and weed and shit, and that wasn't happening. But I ended up finishing college. It took me about 5 different places and some different junior colleges, but I got through it. And then that later was now. And so then when I was going into the process, had to clear up some probation, had to go to jail, man, to commute some probation. And then Marines turned me down, tattoos, Army turned me down, background. And I was scared about failing SEAL training and ended up on but I wanted to deploy. And so I didn't really want to be in the Navy per se. I didn't know all the jobs and stuff. So I was like, all right, I didn't think I could do all the running too. I'm not a great runner. And so, but that was the only option I had. And so destiny pushed me in that direction. And then, and that's when I went into the SEAL pipeline.
When did you go in?
2010, February.
Okay. I was in 02 to 06.
Okay.
I did avionics on jets.
Okay. Solid.
Yeah. I wanted to do SWIC type stuff. Like you said, everyone wants to be a SEAL or do something crazy, something like that. It just didn't work out. I had pneumonia in boot camp and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do what I was originally supposed to do anyway. But I joined a little bit, after 9/11. And I think a lot of us kind of had that, no matter when you joined, okay, there's like a purpose here. There's something I can go do. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think every guy, I think hanging around town is like the worst thing a guy can do. I mean, first off, you got to change locations.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to get out of your comfort zone, and that, whether that's the military or whatever. And some people it's college, whatever. But if you don't really know why you're going to school, go in the fucking military.
That was totally
or some kind of service or something outside of yourself. So you at least learn how to toe the line and burn some of that 18 to 21, 22, which is a super dangerous window where, dude, you can stack felonies and you can make some seriously bad choices. And I deal with a lot of guys like that. They can't get in after when 18, 19, you can make some really dumb choices.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I did. I joined in 05. I went in 6 days after high school. I needed to, though.
Smart.
It was the same thing. It was my wrestling coach was like, he originally got me into wrestling because I was drinking vodka and Gatorade at school and whatnot, and he was like, hey, you need to go. And I was like, I always had a Marine thing on my wall and stuff. And that fucking commercial Fighting the Dragon got me. So,
dude, that was some really good advice.
Yeah. He was like, you're going to go in the military. I was like, okay. I'm gonna go in the military.
Yeah, that's some good advice, especially if you were already on the Gatorade and vodka train, dude.
And I gave myself. He was like, "You're gonna leave as soon as possible." And like, I had to sign the thing for my mom. She was pissed. She ended up signing it over it, But it was the earliest I could go to MEPS was 6 days after high school, and I didn't even get the get off my bus thing or anything. I showed up at fucking MCRD, like right down the street from where my brother lived, like whatever in San Diego, and I had to sit fucking crisscross for like 4 hours to wait for the bus, just fucking against the wall. but yeah, 6 days after, and that was the best advice I ever got when I was a kid. It was like, you're gonna fucking go in the military,
dude. It's growth by fire. It's that crucible that it forces you to grow up pretty fast, and you're given a lot of responsibility.
I think it's important, early, like you said, at a young age.
Yep.
Because later on in life, most guys, no matter what they've done early on, are looking for more responsibility or more discipline, trying to get more squared away. And I really think that, especially at that young age, if you can get even some of that, that goes pretty far.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there's guys still trying to learn it at 50.
That's
and
what
they're
I'm
like,
saying,
man, I wish I would have gone in the service. Man, you at least get a foundation of like, okay, waking up early. Some people never experience that, like forced early wake ups, like freezing and everybody knows military coal is a different type of animal. That type of thing is like what ruins me for cold forever. But it teaches you something about weathering and grit and and I think that I know that bleeds into life for sure.
Totally. So what was it like from your perspective going through SEAL training and then becoming a SEAL, getting the trident and all that?
Dude, that process, I felt like I was on a really good divine wave. The boot camp class I was in was all SEAL candidates at that time. And our group was solid. Like I think out of 100 guys of that initial boot camp, 9 guys made it. And 5 of those are operating at the tip of the spear right now still.
Awesome.
And still connected with all those guys. I knew we had a good group and we did.
Yeah.
So I hit that smooth process pretty through. I made it through BUDS and SQT without any injuries, no failures. I mean, I failed some things here and there, but I didn't get rolled.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I knew I couldn't because I couldn't lose any fitness, man. Like all the runs, I was passing by like 10 fucking seconds. I was that guy that was just had to put out, and the times would get progressively faster. And it was hard, man. And I had some help from guys in the class, and I can swim, so I would help guys with swimming sometimes, but I knew I had one push to get through and to not fuck up. And I was locked on. And so that process, getting the trident was, man, that was a great day. Because Because people told me at the beginning, they're like, dude, you're never going to make it through. You can't run fast enough or this, or you're not going to get a security clearance. And so I was getting out of jail and people were like, you want to be a fucking SEAL? Are you serious, dude? I was delusional, really. But it ended up not being delusion.
Right.
And it ended up being okay. And anybody watching, man, don't listen to fucking anybody if they're not in a position you want to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
100%.
for sure.
If they haven't done it.
Yeah.
So keep pushing until you really get clear information from the universe that this is not your path.
Yeah.
And not friction, but I mean a wall. It's different.
I do the same thing, man. With anything in business or in life or whatever. Like if someone says something, okay, I'll like take that data, but like let me push and see.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's actually a wall or if it's a door.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause a lot of the times that so-called wall is a door. There's just more you need to do or a different way to go through it or something. You know?
Absolutely.
So
and
like,
you're never going to know until you keep pushing it. And friction's not an obstruction necessary. Friction is going to happen. And pushing through that is where you actually learn the lessons.
I think
I feel like friction
necessary.
means you're on your purpose, like almost. It's like if there's friction there, that means there's something maybe it's not like the major one, but it's like something you need to learn something here, or there's a lesson here, or there's something to take from it. But
yeah, man, no growth happens in comfort.
Yeah.
No.
If shit's easy, you're backsliding.
yeah.
That's how I think of it as current. If shit's too easy, you're regressing, and it's only a matter of time.
Oh, totally. Not to cut you off there.
No,
I was just going to say, what was the hardest thing in SEAL training for you?
The running and the cold,
Yeah.
like just the volume. And luckily, I think I have good genetic bone density, and I trained pretty well, so I didn't have any stress related injuries.
Yeah.
The cold, but there was every run, man. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I could keep running at this pace. Like,
Right.
I don't know if I could just keep this pace up and thinking about the whole scope was daunting. That was really terrifying. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, 18 months of this, dude. I don't know. But the cold also, that was the hypothermic training, the surf torture. That was pretty out of body.
I feel like that's got to be the toughest thing
I
for
can't
most
remember
guys.
where I saw you say
Yeah.
it, but you said running's for the enemy.
Running's for the enemy, man. It breeds cowardice. I go, long distance running breeds cowardice.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
If I'm running for miles, something has gone
Something
wrong.
went
happened.
terribly
Something
wrong, dude.
yeah,
and I ended up getting blasted with that, I think, from the universe because the French love to run.
Wow.
And so
Oh,
that was an eye-opening experience.
Do you still run now?
No.
No.
Dude, I'll sprint and I'll walk. I'll try to do my cardio. I'll do
Yeah.
some burpees and shit like that. But man, I like sprints and stairs. And
Yeah.
I will throw some boots on if I'm in sand or something every once in a while or go run. That's okay.
Sure.
But I'm not trying to run 10 miles,
Yeah.
dude, or stuff like that. It
Sure.
just does not interest me.
Dude,
Yeah.
we played soccer with some Foreign Legion guys in Djibouti one time,
Really?
and it turned into full contact fucking some kind of crazy whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And we were there and I didn't know anything about the Foreign Legion. I was like, oh, these guys are French.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
guys, And so we start playing with them, and we beat the shit out of each other. Like, and I was like, oh, this is full contact now. Like,
You were in Djibouti with the Legion,
Yeah.
man? That's an interesting thing because a lot of people don't know that Legion has they have a training program down in Djibouti and they do their desert stuff out there.
Yep,
So that's
we were-
interesting. You crossed
Yeah,
paths.
we were off the Horn of Africa. We were doing stuff on the ship and launching Harriers into Yemen and fucking wherever else. And we did a couple R&R days in Djibouti, and we're like, it was so hot,
Yeah.
130 degrees, And we're like, yeah, fuck it. Like these French guys want to play fucking soccer with us or whatever, and it turned into just full contact fucking rugby.
Dude, the
basically.
Legion's got a
So,
lot of respect for Marines, man,
Yeah.
and just military, the United States military in general, because the soft power of the United States is just culture.
Yeah.
Right? And so everybody knows American culture, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, American military. And so they're like super interested in it. Most everybody is.
Yeah. All right. So you became a SEAL in what, 2011?
Yep.
Something
Exactly.
like
Yep.
So how did that go? What'd you do there? I'm very curious what you did in the SEAL team and how you ended up getting into French Legion. If you want to take us through that.
So went to SEAL Team 7.
Okay.
And from that point, I just volunteered for schools like right off the bat. Some guys took some vacation. I went to comm school right away, which is not sexy. But you guys know it's like you can't shoot your radio away, dude. So it never gets lighter.
Yeah.
And so and you're with the C2 element. It's kind of lame. But I just wanted to do any school. I was so happy to be there. And
That's
so
cool.
anything I could do, but that set me up great because I went to Naval Special Warfare Communications School, learned radios and stuff, which I think everybody should know.
Yeah.
And then they sent me to JTAC. right away because I was a comms guy, even though I was a new guy. And so that set me up in Fallon and, up at the Top Gun school and coordinating fires from jets and getting that world. And that
I went to Fallon a lot.
Yeah. You know that world is cool, man. That pilot world's badass. Yeah. They're tip of the spear dudes too, man. You know all this stuff. It's that same mentality of wanting to be that edge of the spear. Yeah. And so that was really cool to experience, and also a lot of responsibility and pressure and mission planning. And, it's $10,000 an hour to fly 2 F-18s for an hour. And so for training, you can't be fucking up,
right?
Fumble fucking the radio, and they're having to do so it was a lot of pressure, but I'm glad I got that right away. And then just regular training, yada, yada, yada. Then I went to sniper school. So I went to sniper school in Atterbury, Indiana, which was great. That's what I wanted to do. And then we were doing our workup, man. We went to Yemen, our first one. I did some stuff down in Mexico, which was like for the G20 summit, and almost died down there from drowning. But all those small, man, it was like Mexico in the summer, and I go off a boat and almost drowned because I didn't have the right flotation. It was a huge swells and all this stuff happened.
Was that in training?
No, it was, we were doing the Maritime Extraction Force for Obama. And while he was transiting, they were worried about the cartels.
Yeah.
Getting him wrapped up or something. So we were kind of staged off of his mansion. But we were 2 miles out, and there a huge storm came in, and LCUs were pulling the Swick ribs. And we were jumping onto the ribs, and our Zodiacs were launched on those, dude. And it was like 9-foot swells. And I went in the drink with my M4 wired into my kit, full loadout, pistol.
Fuck. You're going straight to the bottom.
Dude, I was treading water, bro, like no flotation. I had one water wing because I wanted to be cool, but I couldn't reach it because, you can't get it when it matters. And I didn't even know if there was a C2 canister in it, bro. Seriously.
Right.
But that was an eye-opening experience because I was like, this is all for real. There's no more bumpers on anymore, man. This is up to me to keep. Nobody's checking my shit. Yeah. This is real shit. I'm glad that happened then because I was really locked on from that position. But then we went to Yemen. I went to Iraq. And through that phase, man, I was locked on, but I had a couple run-ins with the law, out in town, bars, and just kind of like skitting by. I was kind of the golden boy. I was doing really well, early promotes and stuff. So things were getting managed and swept under the rug. And I was given a lot of, I was given a lot of leeway that probably I shouldn't have been given, or just, I didn't earn, right? And I hadn't earned it, and I was not earning my place still. I was working hard, but I wasn't doing the off the field shit correct.
Sure.
And that was where I lost a little sight of the important things. Like to be a good teammate, it's not just about on the field. It's about off the field too. Yeah. And because when you're offline, dude, now other people are picking up slack. Now they're doing paperwork. Now head shed's like taking time off of getting ready for war and dealing with your shit. And so that was a learning experience for me, but ended up getting that, going to jail and all this stuff. But I ended up getting kicked out of the military on a failed performance-enhancing steroid test. That's actually what I got popped for by Navy JAG, and a zero tolerance, man. And after 7 years, I took a general discharge and didn't fight it and got out. And that was my out after 7 years, a few deployments. And
damn, I like what you said there about like when training was over and you had that near drowning experience and you realized, like this is on me now. Like it's real. Even something is, I don't want to say simple, but like we're not like essentially fighting right now, and because that's where a lot of people perceive all the danger is, right? But like just being out on 9-foot swells and trying to transfer from one rig to another is extremely dangerous, as you learned. You know? So I think that's a really interesting switch there. Going like when the switch went on, and it was like, oh, I'm not in training anymore. I don't have an instructor, or I don't have a dive buddy. I don't have somebody right with me all the time. Like it's on me to keep myself alive.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
And when the boats came up, I went, I'll go first, right? Cause I'm like, I just want to get it done, but also I didn't want to be a pussy. And I was like, I'll go first. I got this. And I just went and jumped, man. And looking back, man, I'm like, tactical pause is important. Like take that tactical pause, man, and that goes with anything, man. Take that tactical pause and really look and what you're jumping into. And I saw some content you had done. It's like, hey, man, research what you're doing, right? Before you pivot and make that call. And that's important, man. What are you doing? All right, assess the situation, gain that situational awareness. And that was totally displayed in this scenario.
Yeah, we talk about the tactical pause a lot because it's so good to use in anything, in business or in life, you know? So like I don't know if you know our guys, Method Endeavors, Devin and John. He was a SEAL support guy, and John was a ranger. They have a business essentially that trains people how to do that kind of stuff, like CQB and all those things. And they come out and we have a men's camp that we run every quarter up in Sedona. Oh, nice. And some of what we do is exposing guys to stuff like that. So they come out and do CQB and teach everybody that stuff. But that's where we learned, the tactical pause before you go into a room. And I was like, all right, but this can be used other places. Before you enter a big room for a meeting or before you go into business, like whatever it is, like don't get super fired up and just jump off the boat.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just sit for even just a second. Just think about it. Make sure that I really understand what's around me. And now I'm going to go.
Yeah. Drop your sympathetic nervous system, right? Do 4-4, do a quick anything to take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
And that was part of what was going on. And this particular environment I was kind of just getting pumped up to it. Now, dude, any emotional decision is usually a poor one.
Yeah.
Right. Let's be smart and strategic,
right,
and then deliberate.
Yeah, dude, that's wild. So you were a SEAL for 7 years.
Yeah, 7 and some change.
And no tolerance because of a PED.
I tell you what, it was. I'll say though, I wasn't some victim. Like I knew it was wrong, and it wasn't like they're like. It was on TRT. No, I was doing all the steroids, man. I was not like, I lit that test up like a Christmas tree.
This one's for horses.
Yeah. They were like this. And so I knew, and that's what I said. And so that's why I ended up getting a general. The CO was solid, man. And he's like, this guy doesn't deserve OTH or something, man. It just is what it is, right?
Yeah. And 7 fucking years. And
yeah, it was, and then I said that, I was like, hey, man, they said, do you have any advice for, anybody? I said, look, if what you're doing is willing to ruin what you got going on, just know that. Yeah. Do what you want to do, but just know what you're risking. And that's the truth.
Yep.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yep.
Yeah, because you think about all that training you went through, comm school, sniper school, JTAC, all this stuff, and they had to cut you like, dude, you were a huge asset at that point.
Yeah, but I was a liability, right? And so because I was doing, other shit too, man, I was a liability, and it really just was if it was one thing, it would have been something else, right? It's because I was going hard in the paint, man. And so, and I had been arrested twice. I had 2 felony charges twice while in the teams. Beat one. I had expensive lawyers. So I wasn't like Navy Jaguar had it. I had a top secret security clearance pulled and gotten back. And they're like, this fucking guy.
It's Cavanaugh again.
Dude, I came across their desk again. They were like, negative, dude. We're going to grill this fucking guy. And they were pissed because I was beating the case again. Yeah. And they're like, I had gotten in touch with the San Diego chief of police. And dude, I went, and so it was like, and they're like, this, no way, absolutely not. And they test me for drugs and I passed. And then, cause I wasn't really like doing drugs and shit. Like that wasn't really my flow. And, but they got me on that.
They're like, no, drugs.
Yeah.
All right. So you get out of the Navy and then what do you do after that?
So I moved into residential real estate development to on a massive project. I leveraged some contacts. I was always really good at maintaining relationships and just had good mentors and reached out to people and was honest about what I didn't know. And so I had some mentors that were like, hey, plug me in with some people. I told them what I wanted. That was the other piece, is be direct about what you need to people. Right? A lot of people have these networks, but how are you leveraging your networks?
Right.
That shit matters.
Right.
It's like, and a lot of that is just ask. Fucking ask and ye shall receive. And so I was just like, they said, hey man, how can we help you? And I said, do you know anybody in the real estate space? Actually, this guy is who I want to speak to. Can you get me a lunch with him? And that guy introduced me to another guy, another guy. And I just kept pushing it. And then I started working for the largest private developer in the United States on the largest project in the United States. It was like a $750 million project down in Chula Vista.
Oh yeah.
It's called Iskaya. And anyway, that was drinking out of a fire hose, but did that for a year, did really well. Then the cannabis industry launched and I had another team guy say, hey man, we have 2 VC partners who I work with some other stuff. We want to launch a distribution company. Will you come in? And I said, all right. It was a risk, but we went in. Long story short is, you know how startups and things are. They're complicated. Everybody gets fired except me, and now I'm the CEO. So now I'm raising capital. I'm raising capital for his other businesses, and we're in and I'm doing a lot. But during this period, man, I was stacking bad habits like it was my job, dude. It was Adderall, Xanax, weed, all the things, and then fentanyl and opiates by the last year. I'm like, let's throw that in the mix and you can't bend reality that long.
Yeah.
That was the truth. I mean, I don't care. Nobody rides off into the sunset on happily ever after on fentanyl. It's not happening. And it wasn't happening for me either. And I was delusional enough to think that I was not addicted.
Yeah.
Truthfully. But the truth was I never came off it. So I didn't know, right? I was like, oh, I'm doing it at night. It's fine, right? I'm not doing it during the day. It's whatever. I'm still working. It's not like I'm off partying. I'm like writing emails and snorting this shit at the same time. And dude, I went down on my face, crashed and burned. It all fell apart, right? It was just done. Like everybody knew I was having issues, but except me. Yeah. You know, it was like that. Yeah. And so my world came crashing down and I left San Diego, went to Hawaii, and that's where I'm end up. Now I got no money. I'm in my truck living in the jungle. Fucking dude. Like.
This is where you were talking about jumping in a volcano?
Yeah. That's what I thought about, jumping in a volcano, man, to kill myself. Because I wasn't like, if I'm going to go out, you know, just crazy. Just crazy and manic.
Shit.
But sad, but not like, but I was numb. That's how I knew it was dangerous. I wasn't crying, man. I wasn't like, oh, woe is me. I was just like, I'm just tired, bro. I'm just sick of this. Like I just up and down and I just had no more drive to try anything. And that was about 3 days, man, where I remember turning the car off and it was just quiet. Yeah. And then it really was that moment I realized it all hit me. No money. I had no gas in my truck, dude. I had nothing. I have like a pitcher of vodka and like some other thing next to me. And I'm like, I have some like DMT in a fucking bottle, dude. And I'm like, just like what happened? 2 years to the day almost of when I got out of the military to that point.
Yeah.
In a fucking jungle in Hawaii.
Dude, just like right in it where the volcano's erupting on Pahoa, way on the nose of the Big Island. Damn. So it's rural, man. There's no service. People are all living off grid. It's like way out in Hawaii. But I knew no one would bother me there. So I was just sitting there like, you know, maybe I'll jump off this cliff and then realizing, dude, it's probably not high enough and I'm pretty hardy and I'll probably just smash it against the rock. It's gonna bounce. Like, this was the thought process, man. Yeah. And that was that moment of clarity where I'm sure everybody who's a hard charger has those moments where it's like, sack up, dude. Like, this is the time. This is that moment. Are you going to go down that direction and be selfish and leave just a legacy of destruction behind you with your mom and family? I had people that loved me in my life and I wasn't seeing none of it. Yeah. And it was all me. It was like me, depression's selfish as shit. Yeah. Truly is. And I was being a selfish motherfucker in this phase. And that's when I started to kind of go, all right, I'm going to the Foreign Legion, man. I got another push. Let's do this.
I think that's an important thing to look for, like, especially in guys. It's not necessarily crying and woe is me and like doing the stuff that we might think. Yep. It's quiet. Yeah. Yep. It's quiet and just kind of checked out, like not caring. You said numb.
Dude, apathy on the map of consciousness, there's an interesting, apathy's real low. Yeah. Anger's better. Yep. Anger's better. They said if you can rise to anger, at least that's something. Yep. So if you're apathetic, start to get pissed, man, right? Because if you can get pissed, you can start to change some things. And that was like, I was pissed at my situation. I'm pissed at what I had done to myself, what I had earned. Yeah. That was the shift. Because apathy, if you're noticing this in people in your life, you said it smart, Justin, was like, you see dude's just tired, man. Mm-hmm. Talk to that dude. Exactly. Like, talk to that dude, get him to change some shit, like shake the tree a little bit because there's something there.
So was that the switch then? Getting angry and you said, fuck this, I need to do something else?
Verbatim. It's like, fuck this, man. I'm not going out like this. If I'm going to die, at least I'll have my boots on. Yeah. I'm going to do it like a man and not by my own hand, which is crazy. Man.
Dude, I think about that pretty often. I don't know if you've seen on anything on TikTok or Instagram or something. Like recently when Deadpool came out, they have that Like a Prayer song that's sung by a choir. Okay. And they pull out that scene from Game of Thrones. And it's the one dude and he's standing in a field and you're like, what's going on? And you turn and there's like 10,000 guys on horses coming at him. And the song's playing Like a Prayer. And he just drops his belt, pulls his sword out, is just like, fuck it. One guy against like 100,000.
Dude, I got the chills, man.
Yeah, I got the chills, exactly. Dude. Because you see that and you're like, oh, dude, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
You know, like just being alone and sad and depressed and burning in a volcano. Like no one would ever even know. Like you just, disintegrate and be
on
gone.
your feet.
Yeah. It's not as nearly as cool as you might think it is.
Yeah, man. Dying on your feet, man.
Yeah.
Like that's, at least that's honorable.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. Doing something, going down on doing something that you knew you wanted to do.
That's a real thing to talk about too, especially guys who've been there or are there currently, where they're tickling that apathetic fucking like whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've been there and that's what I felt too. It was nothing.
What was going on when you were kind of in your truck phase, bro?
Well, I was driving a 458 Italia making $200,000-$300,000 in the oil field and everybody thought my life was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I was putting a fucking pistol in my mouth every night.
Damn.
And every morning.
What was it? What was bringing you there?
I was living way too hard and fast and just kind of the same story, like I would be gone for 60 or 90 days offshore on an oil rig and everything was great. Work, boom, 12 hours and then hit the gym. And then I'd get back and have 60 grand in my bank account and nothing to do for a month.
Okay.
Oh,
you had a lot. You found
a lot to do. Yeah, there's a lot to do. And then, at about day 28, I'm like, hey, call the boss. Like, hey, Joey, I gotta go back offshore. I'm broke.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's like, what the fuck are you talking
Dude,
about?
That's living hard, bro.
Yeah. I remember there was two realizations in that period of time. One of them was I had a $10,000 band of bills and I threw it at a stripper.
Yeah.
And it was just in the back of my head, I was like, I just threw 10 grand at that bitch. Like this is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like what am I doing? And then another time I was, my roommate at the time, I won't say his name, I don't want to embarrass him, but my roommate at the time, the sun was coming up and we were sitting on the couch and we were fucking snorting coke. And I saw him drop the bag on the ground and I was watching him and he was picking it out of the fucking carpet. But we had 2 or 3 more bags like on the table. Like he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But he's picking it out of the carpet. And I was like, I'm going to bed. And like 2 weeks later, I quit the oil field and fucking went back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was around that time. Everybody thought I was killing it, like fuck whatever. But it was the darkest, like most shitty, just apathetic, don't give a fuck about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was crazy. And there was no anger. There was no sadness. I wasn't depressed. It was just, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do. Like I had a great military career. I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years. I got out. I got this awesome job in the oil field. And it was basically just like going back in the military. I knew all the guys were veterans.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, fuck, this is what I'm going to do, And I was killing myself. It was like hard and fast life. And I knew I had to get out of it. So
it's that out of alignment, man. You can't deny it when you're out of alignment. Yeah. You just know it and feel it.
Yep.
And that's you can't escape it. And it's okay. It's that path. It's telling you, hey man, all that friction and all that lack of clarity and it's you're going to stay here. You're going to wallow in it, dude.
Yep.
People just wallow in it because they don't know how to get out of it.
Yep. And then looking around, you see these guys that are only a couple years older than me. They look like they're 60, and they're broke all the time. And I'm like, you've been doing this for how long? And you're still broke? Like, that's what I have to look forward to.
Yeah. And that's what you would have been.
Yeah. That's what I would have been.
Yeah,
I was doing
to show
that.
for it and nothing to show for it with at 60, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. All right. So you're in Hawaii and you say, fuck it, I've had enough. I imagine you're probably like, okay, I need a whole new everything. Yeah. I need to remake myself.
Yep.
Whatever. So where did the French Foreign Legion thing come from? I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest, until kind of recently.
Yeah.
And now that I've been looking at it, I'm like, I cannot wait to talk to you about this because I don't know. There's so much you see about it.
It came on my radar, I think, as like a kid. In my like Dewey Decimal System travels in the library, like at that age, I think I came across like the Foreign Legion in like an old book or something.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
It just was like there. And then when I was getting out of jail in 23, going, well, all these branches are turning me down. I was like, well, I still want to serve. That's when it came back up on my radar, like foreign military units. So that will, and I say, okay, it came back on my radar. All right, this is my look red, grab red type thing. If I have to go in the military. So I always had it in the back of my mind. And even in boot camp, like I have some SEAL homies who are still kind of running and gunning. They go, dude, I remember when you were at boot camp saying, hey, if any shit goes down, I'm going in the Fort Legion. I said that in boot camp, dude. Yeah. My buddy reminded me of that. I was like, dude, I said that? I was like, damn. So maybe I manifested that a little too strong, bro. But, and then when all the stuff started kind of falling apart, I was like, okay, well, I got nothing holding me down. I got no kids, nothing. And that kind of moment, I goes, why don't I fucking just do it now? It was like a aha moment. Sure. Like, what the fuck? And so then that's when we pulled the trigger on it.
So how do you even do that? Like, tell us what the French Foreign Legion is. If you would.
The French Foreign Legion is about a 200-year-old and some change institution started by an old king to get foreigners who are in his bars back onto the battlefield and with the carrot of French citizenship. It's modeled after the old Roman legions. Or you can come in, serve your time, and have French citizenship, and that's really appealing for, imagine all the Eastern Bloc guys and guys from rough countries. And so they fought in every war from Algeria to Afghanistan. About 7,000 guys right now. It's about 8,000 dudes spread all over the world. And France is pretty imperialistic, in history. So, I mean, you got dudes in Tahiti. 26 countries in Africa speak French. So you got French Foreign Legion all over Africa, South America, which is where I ended up deploying, and scattered through Europe. And they're in Ukraine right now, all that stuff. So it's an interesting institution. You only speak French, and there's only one way to join, man. There's only one way to join. There's no applications. You just got to go knock on the door. And like an old castle, like the Wizard of Oz, dude. Like you go up and you just bang on the door, dude. There's no giving them a call ahead or nothing. It's really weird. And the dude opens the thing up and comes out with a gun and a green beret, and he's like, qu'est-ce que tu fais ici? What are you doing here? And then you give him your passport. And if everything goes well, you don't see that passport for years.
Holy shit.
They keep it.
They keep it.
No shit.
They give you a fake name. They give me a fake French passport that I deployed with on an official passport. They gave me a French European Social Security number they knew I was American, so you're not like pulling the wool over somebody's eyes. So they give you an American name, American place of birth, but you have like French like residency. It's not really residency because it's not your real name, but so it's super legally gray. I don't know how it works out.
What was your fake French name?
Trent Clayson.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Trent Clayson. Yeah, I got hooked up, dude. I had a South Korean buddy, and he goes, no, man. And I'm like, what? He goes, these racist bastards. And I'm like, what happened? He goes, look at the name they gave me. It's a Moon Rim. I was like, damn, dude. He was Moon Rim for like 4 years.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's a unique place, man. It's like the Marine Corps in its culture.
Yeah.
Very, very regimented, military discipline, salutes, all those things it's very formal.
How's it compare to a SEAL team?
It's as I was talking with Marcus Luttrell pretty recently, and he goes, dude, it's like apples and cement. He goes, they're so different because SEAL teams were like a lot of autonomy, a thinking shooter, and they do not want that in the French Foreign Legion. You have no autonomy, and they want you to shut the fuck up and charge. Don't ask questions is what they would say a lot of time. They go, it's just comme ça. It's just like this is what they say. It's just like that. If you ever ask a question, I don't know, just like that. Shut up.
Yeah. Very interesting. So is it more kind of like an army unit, or is it like a special ops type unit?
So that's a good question. It's not a special force unit, right? Yeah. It's a shock troop infantry unit, if it is anything. Okay. So it's a highly trained infantry unit, and it's a one-stop shop. So they have their own cavalry, they have their own fucking tanks, parachute regiments, infantry, engineering, medical, everything is cooks, administration, everything's in one package for France. They can put you anywhere. Now they do have commando units, which are smaller. There's only like 2 of them: the Group Commando Parachutiste, Parachute Commando Group, and the Group Commando Montagne, Mountain Commando Group. And those are 2 select units, which I ended up trying for Mountain Commando Group. Didn't make it though. But those 2 units are like Ranger units, if I could call it anything else. Yeah, it's like a Ranger unit.
Okay. So how'd you learn French?
A lot of pain.
By fire?
They go, you know how they have full immersion? I call this extreme immersion. Where it's like, because everybody, my French has a Russian accent, you know, because all these guys are Eastern Bloc.
Oh, man.
I'll speak French and people go, where are you from? Like Ukraine or something? I go, that's funny. Yeah.
Tell us something in French.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Tu fais quoi? What do you want, dude? You know?
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you have to knock on the door. It's like Fight Club style. They like take your passport. They make you speak another language.
Yep.
And do other countries do anything like that?
I looked. And so, because I was like, what's next, right? Because I had a point where I was like, well, let's just keep doing this all over the world.
Let's try something else.
No, there's not anything. But they do have, obviously now, they have the International Legion in Ukraine, which is that's more recent. And they did have a Spanish Legion. So if you do Google online, you'll see the Spanish Legion. They got like some pretty interesting uniforms. It's pretty flamboyant. But you have to be from like a Spanish speaking country. Like, so they got like they got MS-13 gang members and stuff who want to get out. It's kind of cool, man. Cause both the Legion units, like the tattoo regs are 0.
Yeah.
But you got dudes coming in with faces blasted, heads blasted. So that's kind of cool, man. When you see like dudes in uniform with like their face blasted from some dark hole in Russia, it's kind of sick, man.
Like, we don't give a fuck. Can you run?
Yeah. Seriously, bro.
Well, I mean, I like that. That's kind of what I was getting at too when you talked about your PED, that got you kicked out of the SEAL teams. It's like, who gives a shit? Can you fight?
Yeah.
Can you kill people? Can you take orders? Can you be like whatever?
And that's all they cared about, which was it's really refreshing. I call it the last bastion of anti-wokeness.
Yeah.
Because I was over there when all this stuff was going on, the riots and the Antifa and all the stuff that we know was going on.
Right.
And everyone would like be watching the news and they'd look at me and they're like, qu'est-ce qui se passe là-bas? Like, what's going on over there? And they're like, and we'll explain to him like to some Romanian like sergeant. Man. I'm like, well, they want the transgendered and stuff in the military, and they look at you like, huh? Like it's like totally like they're not. It's not computing.
What do you mean?
Going on. Yeah, they're like, what do you mean? Like totally foreign. No women. Also,
cut your dick off in French.
Yeah. Like left ton bit.
Yeah, you said you don't say that.
Yeah,
you don't say that.
Yeah. Dang. So you went there and it sounds like kind of like a redemption story. Is that?
Man, I went in there and I wasn't going in there for like some Rambo. I didn't have some romantic view of the military, which some guys go in there do.
Yeah.
I had been to the puppet show and seen all the strings.
Right.
So it was actually worse. I was like, oh man, it's gonna suck going back to boot camp, man. I was 34, dude. I was just doing halos. Now I'm going back to fucking scrubbing toilets, dude. It was like a baptism in humility, starting from ground zero. But I needed that. I knew I needed to like earn my spot back, which is why I love the name of your guys' podcast, because it's like earn it all. Man, it's so true. I knew I needed to earn back my own self-worth. I was like, finally, when I was at that gate and I took that like last tactical pause, dude, and I'm like, all right, well, here we go. I cut my credit cards up and threw them in the trash. I'm like, we're doing this, man. And I had this moment where I felt fucking awesome, where I was like worried, scared, but I was like, back into something positive, which anybody watching who's like just needs a little bit of, just get back in. It doesn't matter if you don't need to be right, dude. Just start moving in a direction so you can get the fuck out of where you're at now. 100%. And I needed it as a vehicle of self-development, and that's exactly what I used it for.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, what do you think it was that finally gave you the, okay, I'm back?
Yeah.
Type thing.
Man, that took a couple years.
Yeah.
It wasn't immediate because I lost my identity. I had no title. Man, I was back at the bottom, like starting back. I had all this like emotional karmic debt, man. I think you have to burn off karmic debt. And sometimes that's just time. There was relationships I had burned with, friends. I had a mountain of just destruction behind me.
Yeah. Explain that more.
Yeah. Just, investments and business and just turmoil and lack of communication and just all these different things that just complicate, as we know, in business and life.
Yeah.
And then I just popped smoke, man, because I needed to leave. And not because I had to leave, but I had to leave to get myself correct, because I was good for nobody.
I like that concept of karmic debt. It's like you're going to pay for it eventually.
Dude, what goes up must come down. You're paying the man at some point. All those highs, you're fucking going to burn all that shit off. There's dudes sitting in prison, man, for killing somebody or whatever who burn off a lot of years of karmic debt, right?
Yeah.
At some point, though, you come out of it. And when I realized there was no more external validation, like, dude, I'm looking at Mercenary World and this and that, and Ukraine kicked off. I'm like, well, I'll go there. I had this moment where I was in this barracks room going, where does this end, dude? Like, and I went, oh, I got to start looking internal. That it was like this another aha moment. Like, I just got to start diving into my own thought process and challenging there's nothing external going to make me feel good. Yeah. I realized that. And that was kind of the process. And that was also when the world opened up, when I went, oh, okay, all right, I'm back. Like, that was it.
Yeah. That was a good way to look at prison, because I've not been to prison, thankfully. Yeah. I don't want to go to prison. But when you hear about guys going in and doing their time, if that's what they're doing in there, paying off that karmic debt, it's like, well, that actually makes sense. Yeah. You know, because some guys need something like that. They need extreme whatever to like sit in their funk, you know, and kind of figure their shit out or go through it. So I think that's badass that worked for you, because you're also able to then go serve. Like, you know what I mean? Instead of just sitting there and just kind of thinking about it every day, like, it sounds like part of that karmic debt was paid off through going and serving again in the Legion.
It absolutely was. And, you know, some guys come out of prison, you know, strong, dialed in, a lot of wisdoms, use that time well. And, you know, they say it's like there's like 7 years, but it's whatever was going on, man, you're going to have an inverse amount of time that you're going to have to burn off that karmic debt. Like, I'll give you an example. We all know when we kind of like some security guard or somebody with like says something to you to do something, and we get like that kind of like, but you leave not feeling good. Right. You're like, man, I kind of like threw a little shade for like unnecessary. And then you feel weird for a little while, but then it goes away. Right. That was a very small infraction where you incurred a little karmic debt. So it was burned off quick. Now, as the decisions and the actions get graver, you're going to have that much karmic debt to burn off. That's how I think of it.
Oh man, that's a great point. I think, man, I just did something like that the other day that I felt that we were moving him into his new place, and we had parked the truck in like an empty parking spot in the garage, and just unloading it, taking shit upstairs, right? And some lady shows up, and we happened to be in her parking spot.
Yeah,
so like,
and we were next to her parking spot.
Next to it.
We were even in it.
So he does the right thing, and he's just like, oh, hey, no problem, no worries. We'll put the shit back in the truck. We'll move it. And well, a couple minutes later, I went to the office to go grab like a dolly because we're moving furniture. And the lady was in there, and I was kind of a dick to her. Yeah. Because I was like, this is such a Karen move, because like this is.
She was in there complaining.
Yeah. Like, this is your
it's like, I immediately moved the fucking truck.
Yeah.
Like,
but there were like no shit, 60 or so empty parking spots around. It was like empty as hell in there, you know? And I'm like, dude, we're moving in. It's going to take 20 minutes. You know what I mean? We're in and out. Like, we know how to move now. We're like fucking pro movers at this point, you know? And, but I was a little bit of a dick to her. But I felt that in my head afterwards. I was like, I didn't need to do that. Yeah. And I was like, I don't really like how it's sitting with me. But then in a few minutes, I was like, yeah, whatever, screw her, you know? Yeah. And now I forgot about it until you just mentioned that.
Yeah, and that's exactly, it's a small little infraction. But universally, you got a little karmic debt to pay off of that. And that goes with anything. So I try to not stack karmic debt. I'm not perfect at it. I totally fail, you know, often. But I try to, the more I'm aware of it, the more I can kind of control it. And this was my time to do that. And I wasn't as aware of what was going on there. I just knew I was alone, getting yelled at, didn't know what the hell they're yelling at me for. Yeah. There's a lot of that, hey, Navy SEAL, come clean this fucking toilet. And there was also a lot of time of, the drunk, you know, Romanian or whatever, they want to go test come wake me up middle of the night, dude. Like, I was fighting Eastern Bloc dudes like twice, 3 times a week, bro. And you can't escape it because there's a bar downstairs in the company building. And so dudes would get drunk, come bang on my door in the middle of the night. Now I'm like, so that went on a while, and then that stops after a while, right? Yeah. You know, that stops after a while. But that was, every time I thought, I was like, man, all right, I earned all this. Yep. And I forget what Stoic philosopher said it, but he goes, right where you're at is exactly where you need to be. Something along those lines. And I love that. It's like, and I would be scrubbing these toilets, man, in the back for hours, bro.
It was
like
Hippocrates that said that.
Yeah. Where you need to be exactly right where you're at. Yeah. And I had that mantra in my head. I'm like, dude, I earned this. This is exactly where I need to be because it's where I am. Yeah. And so I would just kind of started to dive into those Chinese proverbs, like let go and be dragged, you know, let go or be dragged. These mantras that I just started to kind of just bleed into my being, which what is that guy here to teach me?
Yeah,
you know, they really guys who cause a lot of friction. I'm like, man, so glad that guy's here to kind of like, you know, be here to teach me. I hate him.
I like we're talking about this because a lot of the times we talk about earning positive things, you know, a healthier body, a stronger mind, money, you know, relationships, stuff like that. But dude, no matter what you have, you've earned it. You know, like whether it's good or bad. And we're talking about some experiences that have led to earning things we don't want. Yeah. And then there's, you know, you have to find different ways to get out of it.
Yeah. Because that's a really good point, Justin, is everybody thinks about it in that, okay, in the white, in the green. But man, we forget to be grateful for those bad moments when you go, oh, I earned this, man. There's got to be some lessons here.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So that was just it was this, you know, years, almost a half decade of just this constant reminder, man, of like what I lost, but also being very grateful for being healthy and then being in the current state and the ability to really, I was like, thank God I have this time to evolve self. You know, get my body right, get my mind right. I was like, thank God that I'm not in prison or somewhere else, which I could easily been with things I was doing. Okay, I took decisive action. Now I'm here. I'm going to use this for as maximize myself as possible.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So did you experience combat in both SEAL and Legion?
So the Legion wasn't like hot, man. Okay. So in the Legion, we were, I mean, we had some slight friction moments, you know, down in the jungle and things like that, but it wasn't like hot combat. So I deployed to French Guiana Francais, L'Enfer Vert, Green Hell, which is interesting because it's French territory. I didn't know France had territory in South America. And they speak French. They have the euro, but it's all gold mining down there. So we were combating illegal gold mining, and it's all over, dude. I thought we would hit like a gold mine here. We would do 14-day patrols, deep jungle operations, and hit a gold mine every day.
Fuck.
Every day, bro. Really? Like on every patrol, every day, we would hit a new one. And just,
no wonder they took that land.
Dude, there's gold on the ground. Like you pick up sand, it's in your, it's all over down there. And they just discovered oil down there. So billions of money are flowing down to Suriname, Guyana, and French Guiana, which are all kind of like right next to each other.
Yeah. Dude, tell us about the jungle. You got some freaking snakes, some jaguars. Like, yeah, man. What kind of shit is going on in the jungle?
Dude, it's like Avatar down there. Yeah, it's like the Hunger Games. I had never operated in the jungle, right? And most guys hadn't. And we were kind of like an engineering demolition specialty group. That's why I was at a mountain infantry unit. They sent us down there, which was kind of interesting. But we know how to do demo. They had taught us how to do demolition. So that's why we went down there. And then they put us in this outpost on the Suriname border, like multiple days trip in to get to this small outpost. We're probably with like 20 dudes. Yeah. Like on this little outpost, sleeping in cots at the outpost. And then we would do patrols take a boat and go to a staging point and then go patrol into wherever we're at. 2 weeks back in.
Wow.
Drinking water out of the rivers, chlorine tablets, and carrying
machete trails and
machete trails, bro. Yeah. Dude, hacking, like straight hacking. And that was soaking like wet. They taught you how to we went to a small course right before. Yeah. They're like, here's how you survive in the jungle. And it's no shit, man. If you run out of water, dude, like you can't drink enough water. So we had to patrol correctly, make sure it was all, once again, it's all on you. Yeah. Definitely in the Legion. Nobody's like, hey, do you have enough water? And we're about to step out for, and we're not going to see another river. So it's like anytime you stopped, you were filling your stuff up. It's all brown water, dude. But chlorine, I never felt better. Dude, I never got a sniffle. I was like the healthiest I'd ever been in my life down there. I really thrived down there in that environment. But sleeping in hammocks, I mean, you really have to watch your boots. You're putting them upside down on sticks, right? So snakes don't crawl in or scorpions or any of that shit. You're covering your all your stuff from dude. Everything on the ground is fire ants. It's fire ants. Fuck. So you can't really set your stuff on the ground. You can't sit on the ground. So that's another piece. You don't sit on the ground. You have to sit on something, or you're gonna be just getting blasted.
You sleeping in hammocks?
Sleeping in hammocks that are covered zipped up, covered, and you would slide your gun. There's a slot. It was actually like cool hammock. It was like a combat hammock that you could put your gun in with you. And then we were doing 24-hour security rotations. So all the new guys obviously pulling like, midnight to 5, doing, and then you're walking around in Crocs or, whatever, trying to air your feet out for a little bit. Yeah.
Damn. I mean, yeah. Whoever gets to experience that.
Dude, that was what I wanted to do too. When I saw the Legion, it was, if you Google anything in the Legion, you'll see a lot of jungle shit. I'm like, fuck, dude, that'd be cool if I could go down there. They have a formal regiment down there, and they watch the NASA facility. So there's a European space launching thing down on French Guiana. That's the European hub. Yeah. And so they use the Foreign Legion to patrol that and also do the interdiction of gold mines and drug trafficking down there.
Man, what a wild experience, man.
Yeah, it was cool.
I'm not a fan of snakes. So,
dude, it was cool, man, because it was like at night, it was, you get these cool bonding experiences too with like guys from Belarus or Ukraine, and 10% of the Legion's Ukrainian. Okay. 10% and probably 10% Nepalese. So it's like two big chunks of 150 nationalities. I didn't say anything about that. It's cool, man. And
they're all speaking French.
Everybody's speaking shitty French to each other. It's like the catch-all, man. Yeah. It's like everybody's speaking. Yeah. So it's cool because it's funny. Like, man, you try to say stuff and you're all just.
Everybody sucks at
it. Everybody sucks at it. I suck worse than most. So everyone's ripping on my accent from California. They're like, this fucking guy. Man. Yeah. But it was cool learning about people's culture from Mongolia, man, Thailand, all the countries in Africa. That was unique, man. That was really cool. You're sitting and you're all just suffering together. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Nobody gave a shit I was a SEAL. Nobody gave a shit what you did before. Really? And that's what's kind of cool. It's like it's like, what can you do now, man? Yeah. Can you carry a chainsaw now? Yeah. It's like, can you, because if you can't, nobody cares what you did. Like, that was really a cool thing to shed that old identity, which was like, oh, I was a SEAL, this and that. Nobody gives a shit. Just like out in business. Yeah. Just like out in business, my buddy Ryan says this too. He goes, one thing you learn if you're like coming out of the military or anything is nobody gives a shit. Yep. Yeah. Okay. They might listen for 5 minutes that they wouldn't listen to somebody else. What are you doing now? What are you doing now? What can you do for me? Right. Yeah. It's like that's what I think guys in the military, they got to shed that quick. Totally. Don't hang your hat on what you did, man. Be proud of it. It's part of you. Shift focus and move on. And that was a forced thing where I learned that.
It's a good point. I've noticed it a lot with guys that are retired or have been in for a long time. It's like, it doesn't matter, chief. We're in an equal playing field right here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if we're competitors in business, I'm going to take you out like chief, just because you used to have a rank or do something like, and then especially there, it doesn't matter. Like, they could give a shit if you're a Navy SEAL. Like you said, like, can you operate a chainsaw because we need that tree cut down? Yeah. You know what I mean? Are you a pussy because there's snakes? Like, it doesn't matter who you were before.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Navy SEAL, get in that Mercury Lake and go dig up those diesel engines, bro. We need to smash them.
Oh, great. You're a Navy SEAL. You can swim in the water.
Yeah. And that carried up to me, in the private sector is, it's just building your self-worth of your daily habits, man. Yeah. It's like no external validation matters. Yeah, social proof's important. But it's what are you doing now? What are you building now? And let's talk about up and out.
What are some of the daily habits that you've taken from your whole life into today?
You have your blueprint, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, the blueprint's simple, man. It starts with early wake ups, a deliberate wake up time, usually early, because you got to lean into that purpose over pleasure piece, which I'm sure you guys, right? Guys who get it, pick that up early. But if somebody's stagnating and they're experiencing a lot of friction in their life and some anxiety, I always ask them, what time are you getting up? Like, oh, well, I'm kind of getting up. I go, well, I already know you're fucking wrong. Because if you're just, oh, well, I'm just kind of getting up when I want to, dude, you're fucked. Yeah. Because now your day, you're like not being deliberate. And deliberate living is probably the mantra that I push. Deliberate life. Be deliberate about your socks, your beard, your hair, your what you're doing, what you're building, how you communicate with your loved ones, your fit, all these pieces, man. And it starts with the morning. So that's the first piece that I was a big change for me is when I started to do that.
I like that a lot. If you can expand on that if you want, because, you know, you hear guys all the time, like Wes is always, you know, 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You hear these extreme examples, which I think is great because it gets people thinking about that.
Yeah.
Even if 2 a.m. is not in the question, it's like, okay, well, maybe 5 a.m. is someone's early.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 6 a.m. is someone's super early.
Yeah.
You know, so like, but when people hear that, a lot of the times they just think like, well, I mean, we talk about sleep quality all the time. Mm-hmm. Sleep is ultra important for everything, for your brain and muscles and recovery.
If you
and all
wake
that,
up at the same time every day, though, you're setting your circadian rhythm, and that is setting you up for success.
Yeah.
Like number one, on the physiology, like the science side, you wake up the same time every day. It doesn't matter what fucking time it is. If you wake up at 6 a.m. every single day, no matter what, even on the weekends, your circadian clock is set. And your body is now going to push everything in the right direction.
That's why I push to keep most your days the same. Yep. I like Saturday is the same as Monday is for me. I don't change much. Other than, you know, I might schedule some less meetings on Sunday so I can have, but the morning, the wake ups, like my fiance, I get like, even in the hotel room, man, I get up and I do my thing. Same process. Keep it simple. You don't need some 2-hour biohacking bullshit, red dot, stand on your head, cold plunge. Every day, that stuff's good and it's useful.
Dude, people get addicted to that shit though, and then they lean too heavy on it, and then when they don't have that, everything falls apart.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I didn't have my, you know, whatever. I'm like, dude, make it packable. Dude, I want to be able to do this in an Airbnb, a hotel room, dude. If you some coffee and a floor. Yeah, keep it simple, dude. If you always got those, man, and that was when I was in the Foreign Legion. I had to be quiet, so I couldn't be doing like certain things. It had to be smooth. Like I was in a barracks room, dude. And they tried to put me in jail when I started this thing because I was getting up early in Estonia. We were deployed with NATO on the Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group when Russian stuff, on the Russian border. And dude, I was like, they're like, the French officers were not feeling me getting up. Cause also what it does is it kind of like, they wake up and they're like, somebody's up getting after it. Yeah. It makes you feel some type of way.
Oh yeah.
I would get up and go work. So I would go out, work out in the freezing, dude, snow outside thing. I would just get up, put my shoes and just be quiet. I was like, dude, I don't care if they put me in jail. It's that important to me, that non-negotiable thing of me getting ahead of my own brain.
Yep.
It was that emotional and psychological grooming that maybe some people don't know it, need it. Good on them. But I promise you, everybody's better off for it. Definitely men.
For sure. Yeah. My alarm is goes off at 6 every day. Just because that's and I know I could do earlier, but that's when the wife is up for her work. Like it works perfectly to take my kid to school. Like that's my thing. And that's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Like unless I have to get up on the weekend earlier for an event or something, but Saturday, 6 a.m., Sunday, 6 a.m. Like I always feel like if I shut it off or try to sleep in more, like it's just like, one, my body doesn't like it. I feel that. And then two, I'm always just like, well, why? I'm used to operating the way I like to operate at 6 a.m. on Monday. Why would I need more Saturday?
Yeah. And I tell people, find something that works and then stick with it. Stop changing shit up. And what guys do is they're in a valley. They change some things up. And this was what I experienced in my life is self-sabotaging behavior. Self-sabotaging behavior doesn't have to be like hardcore actions. It could be not taking action. It's like you build yourself up, you get all focused, and then they achieve some money, some success, they get comfortable, and now they're sleeping in again. Now they're not doing the thing. And then next thing you know, it sneaks up on them. Yeah. They're out of shape and miserable. And I go, dude, you didn't do all the things that got you to the mountaintop.
Right.
Don't change anything.
Yep.
People talk about, but don't change shit if it's working.
Yep.
Make sure if you're finding 6 a.m. works for you and you're just boom, keep it. If you're in a operating with clarity and inner peace, and dude, keep it going. Yeah, totally. Right? That's what keep moving on something positive.
100%. So
I love what you said about you said it differently, but we always push like intention, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Everything that you do has to have some sort of intention behind it, because then you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Like if it has intention behind it, that means you're paying attention. And as soon as you lose that, then it's like, oh, well now, everything else is going to kind of go to the wayside, right? Because you're not being intentional anymore. You're not intentional with like I love the concept of a blueprint, or you call it whatever you want. You call it your non-negotiables, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? And people get stuck on that too. They're like, I don't know what to call it. Like, don't fucking call it anything.
Don't call it anything.
Don't call it anything. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like, but they get, if you're not doing it with intention, like that, you're gonna set your whole day up like that.
Yeah. That means you're not an intentional man.
Yeah.
Like be intentional about your socks, your environment, your how you present yourself. It all matters, man. And it all bleeds into the next thing, right? The way you do anything, say everything, that mantra. So I like to start my day intentional. It just helps me. It also gives me some extra time to get some shit done. So I'm like, I don't like feeling behind. And for so much of my life, dude, I felt like I was rushing, a little late, and I despise that feeling now because it makes me stressed out. I don't like to feel stressed and anxiety. So I like to feel as calm as possible, stay rooted and centered as possible. And that clarity, it just requires me getting up earlier. Like as simple as that. And I think a lot of guys, they don't take time to think, man. Like men need time to think and strategize and some quiet. And if you're getting up and immediately into reaction, even whether it's family or whatever, I think everybody can benefit from centering yourself, a little movement, and some visualization. Boom, that could be 5 minutes, man. It doesn't have to be some long, drawn out process, but to get intentional, I like that, Adam, intentional about what you're doing, where you're at, the honesty piece about where you're at's massive. Where are you at psychologically and physically and just in your life? Okay, now where are we going? Because that, right, you don't know where you're going, you ain't getting nowhere.
Yeah, if you don't do that, you're operating out of emotion, right? And you said in the beginning, like especially men, when we operate out of emotion, we're going the wrong direction. No matter what. If you're operating out of emotion, and when you wake up late, you're in emotion immediately. You're either angry or you're fucking pissed off or you're rushed or whatever. And I fucking hate being rushed. This is my fucking number one pet peeve is I hate being rushed. I'm 15 to 20 minutes early to everything because I hate being rushed. I hate getting somewhere and realizing that somebody else's fuck up made it so now I'm going to have to fucking nope. I'm fucking early. I don't care. Like,
even here, dude, we were cutting it close. I was talking to Brittany. I'm like, we got to get the fuck out of here because I hate being rushed. And it was just like the timeline was pushing. And then I'm down there messing with the parking, dude. And it was like, I paid it and it wasn't printing anything out. I'm like, fuck it. I don't care. I was like, if we're going to take it, man, I don't care, man, because I don't want to be like rushed or somebody waiting. It's also just respect for time and yourself and everybody and what it says about you, man. It's intentional living, bro. I really like that way to think about it too.
Yeah. You know that feeling when you are a couple minutes behind and you're stressed and all that, doesn't that feel the same as like some karmic debt?
Oh, 100%.
Like just exactly like that lady in the garage the other day. I'm like, that's the same feeling I have if I'm racing to a meeting or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. And why is that? Because karmic debt and anxiety is you not living your best self. That's exactly what it is. So 100%. Anytime you're out of alignment, bro, you're out of alignment. Because is that really the high performing you?
Right.
No. And so you're going to experience this friction. And that's what guys feel when they're like, man, I'm not, well, because you're not. Are you eating intentionally? Are you training intentionally? Are you in some kind of business you're intentional about? How is your communication with your wife or your kids? Is any of that intentional? Most of the time it's like none, zero across the board. I go, no shit, you feel terrible, dude. That all those things is because it's telling you, let's fix these things. And we do them in order, right? So that's what we always go. It's like, so let's start in order and be intentional.
I think you said it on Soft White Underbelly. You said something that really, it fucking hit me super hard when I listened to that. And it was, you didn't lack confidence. You lacked being your best self, essentially, something like that. And it's like, because a lot of guys come to us and they're like, like they come to our men's retreat or whatever. And the thing that they say in the beginning is like, I don't have any confidence. It's like, no, you're just not living up to your best self because your best self has confidence.
Yeah, your best self is
confident as fuck.
Your best self. No, that's a good point about self-talk is people go, I don't have confidence. No, recorrect that line of dialogue. It's that Bruce Lee, your subconscious self believes what you tell it. If you're continuously telling yourself you don't have confidence, guess what? You're not going to have confidence. And then you're not going to be taking the actions and self-worth is built through the work. It's built through the work on self. People, men and women, they get into this, I can't train because I got to be with the kids. Bro, you should train so you can be better for your kids.
Totally.
Dude, you're putting the cart, but you're trying to be here working on the business and the family and not working on yourself. That does not work. You're the common denominator in all those things. Why would you not want to get that stacked?
I tell people all the time, especially when it comes to that with the family and the kids, like it's not good enough to say someday we'll get all the Christmas presents. Someday I'll spend time with you playing catch. Someday we'll go on vacation. Someday, like that shit never happens. Yeah. For a lot of guys, especially in business, they lose their family before they even get there. So it's like, even if you don't have the means to do all the fancy, nice stuff, like your time is really what the kids want.
Yeah.
Like even if you have nothing, if you can't afford a fucking toy, whatever, one-on-one, cool. What can we do? We can wrestle. We can chase each other. We can talk. We can do things, you know? So I feel like you've got to really be super intentional with all of that, especially with the kids.
Intentional, and that requires being intentional about your schedule so you can be efficient, so you can give that time, and intentional so that when you do show up in that position, you can be present.
Yeah.
Dude, it's not enough to just be a meat sack in front of your loved ones.
Yeah, just sitting in the same room doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I go, dude, or, you know, sipping, you know, vodka or, it's, you know, anything where you're pulling distraction away. Dude, that's not enough, right? Yeah. You paying the bills and just being like there is, and psychologically and emotionally gone is, dude, you might as well leave.
Yeah.
Like, dude, and probably better if you did, man. Like, so you at least you could start and work on yourself. Dude, we have a baby coming this my first one, dude. And we got a girl coming, man. Awesome. So and so I feel fortunate because I'm like, well, it's also making me intentional. Like, what kind of dad do I want to be? Like, how do I saw what happened in my family and some things, just chaos and some turmoil, man. And so it's like, I don't want that to ever be my daughter's reality.
Right.
Is that tension and chaos and like that man that's just can't be relied upon, right, emotionally. And it's like, so part of that, I realized that, dude, I have always got it. If I got to get up earlier, I'll get up fucking earlier to handle my shit, right? I don't care. Like, that's like where I've got my mind. Like, dude, if I got to get up at 12:01, dude, to start my shit, I get up my morning process starts 11:59 the night before. How hard do you want to get? You know?
I was up yesterday.
I start my morning process last night. You know? So it's like, but I just decided that I realized how important it is for me to take care of me. Jim Rohn says something great. Jim Rohn, bro, I can't get enough of all his stuff, but he goes, I used to say, hey, take care of me and I'll take care of you. He's like, but now I say, hey, how about you take care of you for me and I'll take care of me for you. Yep. I go, boom. That is perfect 100%. Because it's 100% spot on. Dude.
Yeah. That's always what we push back on guys that have the kid excuse.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, well, I have to do this. It's like, well, dude, you have to be there for them. Like you owe them to be performing at your highest level. Like again, it's not good enough to now, let's say someone is making money, because this is the case a lot.
Yeah.
Where the dad's like, well, I'm providing. Cool. They get all the toys they want. They get the vacations they want once a year and all this kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, but what they really want is you to chase them around the house at 7 p.m. after your long day.
Yeah.
You know, what they really want is for you to be the one creating this extra energy around them and teaching them stuff. Like one of my biggest fears is for my daughter when she grows up, she's 6 now, to say something like, you know, dad was so busy, you know, with his business and his stuff that I wish we had more time together. That would fucking kill me.
Yeah.
I do not want that. So no matter how tired I am, I always do this as I'm coming home, because sometimes, you know, days are really long and I'll just make it home before I know everyone's going to bed sometimes. But even if I'm walking up to that door feeling like a sack of potatoes and I'm just beat mentally and physically, tactical pause right before the door. Whew. All right, big smile, and I go in and I want to bring that energy in and let them see like, oh, dad came home. Oh, look at all this energy he's got and all this. They have no idea that I'm like 2 steps from just like
got our fucking asses kicked.
You know what I mean? But like, that's what we owe it to them. Like, I have no problem taking some extra burden to carry some extra weight for them, you know, because what am I going to do? Put that on them?
Yeah.
Have my wife like try to carry like the stress that I'm carrying, or my kids? Like, no way, dude. I'll carry all that, put on my man mask, tell them everything's cool, show them a great time. And then when they go to bed, okay, cool. Now I'll do something for myself. You know what I mean? And I can kind of like sit and deal with whatever I'm dealing with. But I think it's important to really just be that beacon of light for them and just carry whatever they need us to carry.
I like that. That's ownership too.
Yeah.
Well, it's ownership and control, because you have a lot of control over other aspects of your life. You can control your psychological state, right? And that's a piece. Like, you're in shape, so you can bring better energy.
Yeah.
Right. So some people, they don't have their nutrition good. They don't have, so they're dying, and you can tap into, all right, training, discipline, right? You've already had these structured things, like your body's just functioning better. So you can, all that stuff is stacked for you to be able to do that.
Right.
And then on top of it, making the deliberate choice to bring the heat.
Totally.
Bring that fire.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
that's important, man. It's not about you, right? And I can totally see how, all this when it's kind of adding a whole nother layer of complexity, right?
Yeah.
I got to be tighter. I got to be more on point. I have to be more deliberate about what things I'm doing and how I spend my time and what I'm eating so I can actually perform as a father better, man.
And it's
Fucking
real.
dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Level up.
Yeah.
Dope.
And it's
Yeah,
real.
boot it up,
Go,
man.
yeah.
Boot it
Let's
up.
fucking go. Yeah.
And it's not just about looking a certain way and trying to be, I just want to be the jack dad or anything. It's you nailed it. It's having the energy. It's having the discipline. And because your kids, they do what they see.
Mhm.
Like you can tell them all day long till you're blue in the face what to do.
Yeah.
But really what they're doing is they're sitting there watching. Okay, what's dad actually doing?
Yeah.
Oh, he's actually up before me every weekend. Like
Yeah.
he's whatever it is, they do what they see you doing. So like my buddy Sean Whalen says this all the time. It's like your kids will do what you show them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
So when someone's like, well, why would I get in shape? I already make money. I already do this. I'm not too bad. I have a dad bod. I went off on dad bods the other day. Because I'm just like, dude, even if you say your wife, like this one guy's like, yeah, my wife says otherwise. She likes my dad bod.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
that's true, babe. They don't like the dad bod. Nah, that ain't real.
Well, I was like, hey, that's cool. I'm sure she loves you. You're a handsome guy and everything. But imagine if she saw you take it to another level.
Yeah.
Imagine if she saw you actually start to change your body and how it changed and the person that you're kind of tweaking and changing into. I bet she'd like that more. And he's like, yeah, man, you're right.
Yep.
I'm like, well, dude.
Men are powerful, bro.
Yeah.
Men aren't soft. That's not how we're meant to live, dude. And it's the way you look's the way you live, bro.
Yeah.
It's small daily habits over a long period of time, right?
Yeah.
It's not, we don't need drastic, massive change, but your lifestyle is going to show in your body type.
Yeah.
We all know a dude walks in, you're like, oh yeah, that dude's pretty locked on.
Mhm.
Like it's immediate, man.
Yeah.
So if that is your next level self, why would you not want to tap into that? It makes zero sense why anybody would stay at a lower level of.
You can't make the case.
It's comfort
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pleasure chasing, man. It's like,
Yeah.
so you don't have the discipline to be in a slight caloric deficit in a day or
Right.
track your food or do something, right? It's
Drink a gallon of water.
drink a gallon of water.
Yeah.
It's deliberate.
Yeah.
And so that soft body, bro, soft body is not the jam. I don't care what woman says that, bro. There's no dad bod romance novels.
Right.
Who's on the cover?
There
dude?
might be now.
There
though.
might be
Fuck.
now. So you know what I mean, dude? It's like you don't see some dad bod on the cover, dude. Look at all. Like go in the section, bro. It's just how it goes down, dude. So get real about it.
That's
Yeah.
funny. There's a store here. There's a couple of them. It's called Bookman's or Brookman's or something like that. And it's like a used bookstore. I was in there the other day and they have like 3 aisles of fucking romance novels. I'm going to go take a video.
Oh,
I'm gonna make it fucking real,
that's
dude.
funny.
Be like,
man.
look, every single one of them's jacked.
Was Fabio soft?
Yeah. Dude, you're like, yep, not a dad bod. Not a dad bod.
All right, so you're taking all this stuff from out your career, all the good, all the bad, the U.S. Navy SEALs, the freaking French Foreign Legion, all this stuff, and you package that into essentially teaching that to other guys, from what I understand, right?
Yeah.
And I love how you kept saying habits,
Yep.
Because like in our programs, like they get fitness and nutrition, that's a given.
Yep.
It doesn't fucking matter if your habits are trash.
Yeah.
You're going to sabotage all the best fitness and nutrition
It's true.
plans till they don't work, you know? So what are you doing now to help guys? Because you have such a cool background and like you can just see it. Like you walk in here and people are like, I need to learn something from this guy. So
Thanks,
what do you do with your coaches?
I feel the same about you guys too, dude, right? Because the energy is correct. Your vibration is correct.
Yeah.
You've raised your vibration up. And that's a lot of what I do with guys is it's empowerment and raising of consciousness. That raising of consciousness with that intentional living. And so I package what I learned and what I just in that Foreign Legion barracks room, like, how do I just make myself feel good? Because I realized there's nothing else. I was making like $1,500 a month living in a barracks room. Like, I just need to feel good about what I'm doing here. Yeah. And intentional wake ups, right? I ask a lot of questions at first.
Sure.
See what some people have different friction points. I'm sure as some guys are more fitness based, some guys are more mindset based, but everybody needs a restructuring and some new energy into the system. Let's mix it up, shake the tree a little bit. Let's be more intentional about the wake ups, be more intentional and mindful about your visualizations and goal setting, be more intentional and mindful about your food, nutrition, and your training. You don't need to be doing 2-hour wads and this and that. Because I'm like, dude, think long vision.
Mm-hmm.
I want to build systems for guys that they can do till they're 80.
Yeah.
I don't go kill myself in the gym, man. I'll push myself, but I don't really like go kill myself
Yep.
because I don't want to. That's the truth, man. It just that's not where I don't like hazing myself. I've done plenty of that.
Right.
And so I want to enjoy the things I do, right? In the right ways. And
Yeah.
so when I preach habits, Justin, I get into, hey man, the best program is the shit you like to do because you're going to do it forever.
Yep.
So let's find the foods you like to do that work in your macros. Let's find the training that works for you with your body or injuries or whatever. Some guys it's more lifting, some guys it's body weights, but it's always got to be something.
Yeah.
Move 50 to 60 minutes, get your steps in, be mindful about what you're putting in your body. And then once that momentum they get a little distance from the bad habit, I go, don't even change the habits at first. I go, start focusing on the greater and the lesser will start falling away. I go, dude, you're going to start, you're doing your daily drinking. I go, record it on the app, record it so you can see what it's actually doing. And dudes just that alone, dudes are like, dude, I'm drinking 1,000 calories a day. And I go, yeah, bro, that's why you're fat. I go, cut that out and watch what happens. And it's massive gains. Yeah. And then they don't want to fuck up what they got going on. Like, I'm not the be a monk guy either.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are on a very similar like mindset as that. I go, dude, be intentional about what you do. Mm-hmm. Special force specific about the times you spend with your family or a barbecue or whatever. It's the daily stuff, bro, that gets guys like down, right?
Yeah,
and
dudes will come into our program, into the Earn Your Boost side of the program and be like, you're going to teach me how to be jacked and still drink. And I'm like, kinda. Kinda. Sure. Yeah, sure. And then, they get 6 months or a year through and they kind of like come out at the end of that year and they're like, I haven't drank in 8 months.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I'm going to, or they'll message us and be like, hey, I had like a tequila on the rocks last night and I haven't drank in 8 months other than that. And I still got my workout in this morning. I woke up at the same time, feel awesome. I get it now. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, you don't have to get rid of everything and fucking, but you have to earn it. That delayed gratification. Kick the fucking can down the road. Kick the can down the road again.
Yeah.
Move the goalpost again.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fucking, I worked out this week, so I'm going to drink 30 beers tonight.
Like,
Like, come on. Like, that's not what this is
That's
about.
the momentum you're talking about. Dudes
Yeah.
get this momentum and the building of self-worth and they don't want to break that down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is the entire
whole
point
thing.
of all this, which is your guys' mission too. It's empowering and raising of consciousness and mindfulness.
Yeah, because if you can get them to do, like you said, even just a little bit of it, they naturally want to check out less.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So even if someone comes in with a heavy drinking, like I got a lot of buddies that have like gigantic bourbon collections. They're bourbon guys.
Mhm.
They literally have their Instagram accounts are bourbon podcast, bourbon
Mhm.
life, right?
Bourbon
Everything.
podcast.
Yeah, totally. But like when they come in, they're like, man, I don't want to stop drinking. Like, cool, I get it. Don't like, you just keep doing your thing, but start to do this.
Mhm.
Like all the things you just said with fitness, nutrition, and walking and water, and just very simple things like that. It's a naturally occurring process that as they get those wins, they start to see the wins in their body.
Yeah.
They feel the wins in their head. They see that they're more disciplined and like how they're like kind of becoming like a different animal. It's naturally an occurring process where they're like, oh, maybe I'm not going to do the bourbon today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put this review over here on the day I'm going to do 2 other ones and not just do it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yep.
And it just starts to kind of like
Tension.
become less of a thing.
Yep.
And it's not even like we never have to tell anyone. I mean, some people you do, but you don't have to really tell people like, dude, stop fucking drinking.
Yeah.
Like they're naturally going to start drinking less when they get these wins.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole thing. Because now it's kind of like their idea and they're like, oh, cool. Like now I have a new operating system that I kind of helped, be okay with and form in my head.
They have to
And now
arrive
they'll
at the
stick
conclusion.
with it. Yeah,
You
exactly.
said that very well, Justin.
Yeah.
It's their decision, right?
Yeah.
They arrive at their own conclusion. That's
Yep.
dude, a great sensei or teacher or whatever doesn't tell people what to do. He shows them where to look.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Show you where to look to find the answers.
Fuck yeah.
It's in the deliberate living, the processes, and making sure things are enhancements and not distractions.
Yeah.
That what you want to enhance your life, man, if you're distracting from your life, that there's a very fine razor's edge of difference. And if you're on either side of that, it's going to take your life one of two ways, man. Are you, having that that beer at the barbecue because it's like just, you know, enhancing the situation and it's cool? Or are you pounding beers at night to forget about how shitty your life is? Right. That is a fucking two wildly different roads.
Way different.
And like you said, that razor's edge, it can start right there on that razor's edge. But if you go, you know, long enough time frame and a little degree shift, you're going to end up way the fuck over here, or you're going to end up way the fuck over here.
1,000%.
So,
and we all got to be mindful of that, right? It's very easy to flip on sides, especially hard charges, dude. It's very easy. I could easily fall into that, man. It's like, and so I have to be very conscious of you know, maintaining the battle rhythm. Like so it's called that battle rhythm, man. In the military, we know it. It's that constant, your day shouldn't feel frictiony all day. Things should be challenging, but you should be in a flow state, man, as much as possible. The wake ups, the experiences, the relationships, the communication, the business, man. It's like tapping into that is where I try to get guys to where they're like, oh man, this isn't hard. It's harder to not do these things. It'll be harder to just sit there and be a piece of shit, man. Than get
I
up
can't
and
remember
do
who
it.
said it the other day, but they're like, if your morning routine is like sucks, then you're not doing it right. Like, like that sucks. Like, oh, you wake up and you fucking have this 2-hour bullshit like you were talking about to do every morning and you hate it. It's like, that sucks. That sounds shitty.
We don't need to be sadists, right? And I think that some people, they go, well, I'm not right if I'm not suffering.
Yeah.
I don't tend towards that. Some people are like, man, I got to haze myself every day. I go, bro, reset a little bit. You don't need to punish yourself, man. It's okay to do things that are challenging, but aren't crushing your soul.
I think a lot of people think Wes is like that when they're like, oh, he wakes up at 2:45. He goes to sleep at 7.
Yeah, dude. His flow is good. He likes his flow, man. Yeah. And it's not like he's crushing himself, man. He works hard, stays diligent, doesn't take days off. It keeps a good program, man, and it works for him, right? And he gets up and he enjoys what he does. Why? Because he enjoys the process of raising his frequency and getting yourself, and that is what everybody needs to start doing, is getting yourself bumped up. So you're at that proper operating capacity. And to where you look forward to that. Man, I want to get up, and so I look forward to getting into that state where I'm like, all right, man, to do some content, man, and answer some clients and get into the flow. I can't remember the last time I dreaded waking up, dude.
Dude, guys know too when they wake up late and it's that karmic debt. They feel that fucking karmic debt. Like, man, I could have woke up earlier. Like, I'm still tired as fuck. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever.
Yeah, it didn't help, dude.
It didn't help.
It didn't wake up refreshed, dude. If anything, probably woke up feeling worse.
Now I'm fucking in a rush. I fucking didn't get to make any coffee. Like,
dude. Yeah, man. And if that does happen, I tell guys, we have the 120-second rule in the SEAL teams. You mess up a room in a household or something, beat yourself up for 120 seconds and then shelf it. Put it away so you don't carry it into the next room. Man, if you mess your wake up and now you're up, reset, hit the hard reset, go, I'm going to choose to have a great day today. I'm not going to let that. All right, now I'm going to be even more locked on today. It's that story we tell ourselves.
Hit some win. Yeah, I tell guys that all the time. They're like, oh, I missed my workout this morning, whatever. And I'm like, make sure you win before you go to bed tonight.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what you do. Make sure you win today somewhere before you go to bed.
I like that.
Every single time they're like, oh, man. Fucking, they'll text me, I won today.
Yeah, go run the stairs at lunch, man. Right? Go get something in. So you go, all right.
Yeah, because that's the magic. When you do all these healthy things and these things that are good for your mind and your body, and they're not a pain in the ass to do, that's where the magic is.
Oh, dude.
Like, you guys are like, oh man, I gotta, like you said, suffer and beat myself up all day. But like, well, yeah, maybe to start, maybe that's what it feels like. But when you make this part of like just who you are and you like it, I mean, imagine the compounding effects of that, where like you're getting up and doing all these things every day that you know are good for you, your business and your family and your life, and you like it.
And you like it.
Bro, purpose
smooth.
Why would you not want that?
Smooth.
Purpose feels good.
100%.
And your purpose can be in whatever the thing that you're doing right now. And then the next thing, and then the next thing. And that's what, these guys come in, especially our men's retreat. They come in, they want to know, what's my purpose? I'm like, your purpose is to be here right now.
Damn, I like that.
Like we do this thing at the retreat. We do it's a Native American sweat lodge. And it's fucking hot, dude. I don't know if you've been in a sweat lodge.
I'm about to do one at the end of this. I got invited to a sweat lodge thing at the end of this month.
It's amazing. Man, it's amazing. Yeah. So we had 20 guys in there. We did it, the traditional way. They bring the hot stones in, pour all the shit on it and everything. And, you know, it's like, I even had to tell myself this too, because we do everything. We're not facilitating.
Yeah,
we're doing the whole thing.
I like that.
And I'm in there and I'm like, this is the fucking most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
It's fucking 280 degrees. I feel like my head is melting out. Like my skin is melting off my head.
They keep throwing the water on, then you can't breathe in. They do that.
You can't
and, like, you're in the
breathe.
dirt. Like, it was just like, it was
and
nuts.
like my fucking
Probably felt like the damn jungle.
Yeah, dude.
Damn, dude, I'm about to find out what
bro.
this is.
and you go to this place, and I went to this place where my little brother passed away this past year, and he spoke to me in there.
Well, that's powerful.
And it was this whole thing, and you know, I didn't go see him when he was in the hospital. It was this whole thing.
Yeah.
Fucking, but he was like, basically at the end of this whole like freak out thing that was happening to me, he was like, "You asked for this. Like, you asked for this. This is what we do."
Damn.
I was like, fuck, this is what we fucking do.
This is what we do.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, my purpose right now is to show the rest of these guys in here that it's okay to fucking freak out and not be okay.
Yeah.
And I was fucking beating the ground up. Justin was fucking like a couple guys like away. We were 20 dudes in there, and it's like little tiny, you know, there's mud everywhere. I'm fucking beating the ground up. I'm just like, like screaming. It's like, it was fucking crazy, but it was the gnarliest experience coming out of there too. They threw the door up, the sheet door up, and it fucking boom, thunder and lightning.
Whoa.
Crack.
That's cool.
Craziest thing ever.
And then it started pouring rain. The whole thing was.
Where was this at?
Up in Sedona.
Oh, okay, in Sedona.
So we do it every quarter in Sedona.
That's powerful.
So I fucking crawl out of that thing. We did 4 rounds, I think.
I started to crawl
Seems
out
like
of that.
No, dude, I crawled out after the 4th round, and it's raining. I'm just like, but no, it's like that find purpose in whatever the fuck you're doing right now. If it's a tedious task, or if it's fucking like, if you guys are listening right now, like if it's a tedious task, or if it's fucking the normal thing that you have to do or whatever, it's like, no, my purpose right now is to do this. And it's like, if you can just do that, it's like you making your morning coffee. My purpose right now is to make this the best fucking coffee I've ever had.
Yeah.
And just switch your mind into that, and everything becomes more intentional, and everything becomes better, and everything becomes like, oh no, I'm on my purpose. I don't have to know where I'm going in 10 fucking 20 years. I hate when people talk, what's your 10-year plan, your 20-year plan? I'm like, I'm worried about today.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been fucking like, I'm worried about today. My life is fucking short. Like,
yeah. And people talk about purpose a lot. And I go, well, you're obviously not meant to know yet what your purpose is.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I go, if you don't know yet, then focus on self-development.
Yeah.
When you are that who, you'll know what.
Fuck yeah.
It'll get explained to you and shown to you, man. God speaks to us, the universe, whatever people want to say, energy speaks to us. You're not meant to know yet. You don't need to seek your purpose, man. To seek to suffer. Your destiny's going to whisper at you, and it's going to be when you're quiet and tapped in.
Yeah. Dude, well said. I got one more thing I want to cover with you that I'd love to hear your answer on. And we kind of already answered like what our answer is, but like I want to know from your perspective, like what you think it takes to change like what is going on in society. And we could go down everything from men to gender to mental health and all the different things. But a part of our answer, just to kind of recap, is what we do at our men's retreat. Our men's development camp is really what we call it.
I like that.
Because retreat's a little soft and it's not a yogi thing. And we do breath work, and we do things that are, unlocking different parts of your mind. But we also do a lot of physical stuff, sweat lodges and guns and all sorts of shit. But I really think I know it starts with the individual. And that's why it's like, especially with men, it's like if men don't know what to do, they don't know who they are, they're not sure what they're capable of, they've never been tested, they don't have a purpose. I think that's why most guys check out of life early. Yeah. And so it's like that's kind of our answer is like if we can just affect small starting and large change within ourselves, we can get out there and affect larger in society. But we just had a big election the other day, which fucking went great, I think. But I just want to know, like, I feel like there's a lot happening. You mentioned vibration a lot, which is cool, and consciousness and these things. Like, I do feel like we do have an opportunity to see society go in a better direction now, but it's not just a given. Just because Trump got in office doesn't fucking mean anything if guys don't actually take care of themselves. So the question is like, what do you think like a guy listening can do to be part of like a better change for society? Yeah,
man, I really like what you said about it's really by example, right? That's where it starts. I totally agree with you on that. And what is the United States? Let's just talk about the United States, not even internationally. Well, it's a collection of individuals. Yeah. It's a collection of families. That's all it is. It's nothing different. So boiling it down to its most simple, man, it's each nuclear family building that awareness, which is what's beautiful about social media nowadays, and why I think we're seeing a good pendulum is now. It used to be only people with mics were on the other side of the aisle, the biggest complainers.
Right.
But now what's starting to happen is we're getting like minds coming out with this information like this, where it's okay for men to talk about vibrational frequency. It's not pussy ass shit, dude. Warriors have been talking about this for millennia.
Right.
So it's being aware, tapped in. But I don't ever want to be viewed as weak or not reliable.
Right.
Man, do you want to be viewed that way? I know I don't. So I'm going to do everything in my capacity to ensure that's not the case, right? Present yourself correctly. Take some pride in how your family's set up, how you're set up, and how your community's set up, and being that guy that go, oh, that's my dad, dude. That's my uncle.
Yeah.
Dude, they're like, that's how you should be. Take some pride in that. And we're starting to see it's not cool to be that fucked up motherfucker anymore.
Right.
It's not cool. You need success across the board now. The other thing about social media is it shows, bro, dude, if you got fat rolls coming out of your Rolls Royce, nobody cares, bro, anymore. It's success across the board. And it's also family, right? It's family, faith, finance, fitness. That's the only game now. There's no hiding, anymore. It's all out on display, and you're seeing other people living it. And so that's you. Right. It's in everybody once they make that small decision, and then it takes a lifetime to prove it.
Sure.
Right? It's no days off, man. The universe doesn't take days off. You don't get a chance to take a day off of being great.
Yeah.
Every day, man, keep chopping the wood. And so to answer your question specifically, is it rooted down to each individual man to set the ripple effect correct? That's what we're doing here. And that's why I appreciate your guys' mission also. Let's set the ripple effect, because you being locked on, man, now your brother's like, oh, dude, I saw my brother getting jacked and making money. Man, oh, man, his relationship's better with his wife. Okay, man, even if it plants the seed, you don't got to tell anybody anything.
Yeah.
They're looking.
Right.
People know now. They're watching. It's on display. Okay, now it's starting to challenge them, and people will either rise to the occasion or they won't. But it's accountability overall, I'd say, is what needs to change society, is more men taking accountability, because the fish stinks from the head, man.
Yep.
Right? The leader of the family, man, if a man can poison a family by being incorrect. And so it needs to start there. And it sets a better tone, right? The man starts getting in shape. He starts doing his thing. Well, the wife's like, you know what? I'm going to do this, right? And let's go to the gym together. Bring your families into it. Get your kids off the iPads. Get the family outside. Start tapping back into nature, tapping back into that physical side. And I think our country's on a better trajectory, man.
And by the way, everyone can do it. Because a lot of guys will look at whoever they like to follow, you, or they look at one of us or Wes or anybody, and they'll look like, oh man, I don't know. They already have what I want. And like, fuck, that's a big mountain to climb. It's like, well, dude, everybody can do it. We've seen people lose literally hundreds of pounds. Yeah. And like their life just fucking changes, and then they go, what's next? Well, they get the skin removed. Oh shit. Well, that's led to a new job. That's led to, so like, no matter where you're at, you don't have to already be like the guy and now go to another level of being the guy. Like if you're like at a big deficit, dude, you can get some wins faster than most people.
Yeah. You're going to, your trajectory is going to be exponentially. Yeah. And you're going to feel better too, because you're going to get some massive wins. Quick.
That's what a lot of people don't realize, especially if they're like super overweight.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, I can't do, look at that. He's got a 6-pack. And it's like, dude, if you're 100 pounds overweight, do you know how easy it is to lose 30 pounds?
You can do it in a week.
Yeah.
10
and how
days,
great and how great that feels.
Yep.
And then the next 30 and then the next, and like, dude, so I love that when we do these challenges sometimes, like we'll go by like, okay, over this month, whoever has the greatest % increase of whatever it is, this thing, you win. Because it's not like who's the most jacked, and who, like if you can already do 30 pull-ups, someone who can do none has no chance if it's most pull-ups. But if you go, okay, what's your baseline today? What is your percentage improved? The person who can only do 1 that moves up to 6.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
massive increase. 600% increase.
Yeah.
600%.
So if the guy's already can do 32 and he can only do 33 or 34 next time, he's not going to win.
Yeah.
So I love that. So no matter where you're at, like you just need to start, And
it's incremental change, man.
Totally.
The whole game's incremental change.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're, Jamie Dimon or whatever. Dude, it's incremental. If he's not progressing, he's not happy, right? And so it's, bro, everybody needs to just understand that it doesn't matter where you're at. It's just, are you on the path or are you not on the path?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Small incremental wins, dial in the diet, drop the pounds, increase your bank account, increase your mental clarity, your spiritual connection, your relationship. Man, it's just, are you on the path or you're not? Because that euphoric feeling of growth, which, you know, we've all felt when we get back on it, it stagnates quick if you're not progressing. So the entire game is, where do I keep tightening the dial? And once people understand that, I hate the cliche of it's not the, you know, destination, it's the journey. Results matter, right? Results matter, but that's how you know you're on the path, man. It's these checkpoints. Yeah. That's the beauty of it, bro. I love it. Yeah. You're never going to get there.
Love it when these, like, and it happens to me. It still happens to me, which is great. But like, one of the most fulfilling things is when a guy they go from like, what's next to what's next.
Yeah.
Like,
cool. Slight
like,
change,
what's next?
Major
And it's
change.
like, ooh, now I know I can push him a little bit harder. Now we know we can, you know, move the needle a little bit more or whatever. And it's like, I see that in myself too sometimes when I'll get that like, fuck, what's next? Like I've been through this like crazy fucking mold situation. That's why I moved. My house had like gnarly mold in it. And I was like having all these crazy like health issues happen and stuff, like my fucking heart murmuring and like all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was in this weird spot in my head of like, fuck, what's next? And yesterday I was working out. One of my first workouts, did like a 12-day hiatus from the gym on this protocol peptide stuff, like just getting the detox. And I worked out yesterday and I was like, fuck yeah, what's next?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, yes, like fucking we're back. Like,
not getting dragged, but actually pushing the sled.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. It's a big difference, right? And sometimes at the beginning it takes guys deliberate movement. You almost got to fake it till you make it at first. Like when I was in that real depressed state, kind of getting back to working out and building my body in the Legion, man, I was like, I'm just gonna get in there. Just get in there, man, to the gym. Move the weight. Doesn't matter. That's that incremental progress because it's just momentum. That's all it is.
Yeah. And I think to kind of like to even build up and wrap up to like, what can we do for society? It does start with us, but we need more guys. We need more people, more men, more women that have their shit together. You know, they're strong, they're honorable, they're courageous. Like we need more of that. So, you know, like this isn't just a club for like just guys that fucking quote unquote made it. Like, no, we fucking need everybody to be taking their shit seriously.
We need an army, bro.
Yeah, we need an army of people.
We need a massive army
that are at least trying to perform at their highest level. Like we need that.
And that's all it is. That's all it is. Your life will get exceedingly better. All of our lives, everybody. If you just push it a little harder, have that gumption, man, I can do this. I can do more, man. Have that, light a fire under your ass. Get pissed, man. We see what's going on in society. Get pissed about it. That's one piece, man. I was thinking about leaving the country, man, when I was in the Legion. I'm like, man, dude, man, fuck that, man. I'm not giving up on this place. It's not gone. We can bring this back, bring good values back, that moral compass that you said, who are good people, man, who you can do business with, man. You can do it on a handshake. You don't need a fucking contract.
Right.
It's like all these things, man. Like, let's get back to what this country was built on, man. It was built on hardworking, honest men and women who just had that vision and had that decision about who they're going to be in their life.
What do you tell someone that wants to make that decision but hasn't done it yet?
Get honest about where you're at. Get honest about where you're at. Are you who you want to be? Is this, now I want you to picture this in 40 years. You live in this same way, man. If that is not how you want to be laying on your deathbed, dude, change it right fucking now. And it doesn't need to be everything. It just needs to be one small thing first. One small thing. Maybe it's reaching out. Dude, I don't care if somebody reaches out to me. Reach out to somebody or do something.
Right.
If you don't know what to do, then guess what? It helps. But if you do know what to do and you have done it before, then start doing that. Right? Start moving, bro.
Right. Yeah, and they can always reach out to you, me, him, whoever, their buddy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
just do something. Decide, because not doing something is also a decision. You know?
It's too important. It's that indecision, like Pat 100%. said, man. What kills more people on a battlefield is indecision, not an incorrect decision. Right? It's make that choice stagnation kills. Nothing's stagnant in nature. So if you're going backwards, if you're not going forwards.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, dude, Taylor, I'm glad you're out there, man. I'm glad you're out there doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
I know you've been through a hell of a fucking life, and you've been able to take that and help other guys with it. And I think more guys like you should be doing what you're doing, in my opinion.
Dude, and you guys too, man. I really appreciate your guys' message when we were connected. I'm like, man, these guys are on the same wave. And I find it interesting, dude, a lot of like minds are on that same.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Nobody's splitting the atom here.
Right.
This is all collective unconscious. This is all ancient wisdom. It's just packaged different and delivered, right? But it's important. The packaging is delivered correctly to you. You resonate with the message. Is somebody living a life you want? Well, guess what? As my boy Fraser Bailey said, who you guys would love, but collapse the time horizon on your goals. You collapse the time horizon on your goals when you get the cliff notes, man. Get a blueprint, get a package, get a roadmap so you know you're traveling and you have confidence of where you're going.
Dude, hell yeah. This is a great conversation, man.
Yeah, I appreciate
really
you guys.
thank
This was good.
Coming on. The only thing we ever ask people is like, dude, if you like it, just fucking subscribe, share it. The simple stuff. It's free.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, like Frisella says, like, pay your dues.
Yeah.
All that is
Don't
fucking share it. Just tell about it. Don't be a hoe. Share the show, you know?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So Taylor, it's a pleasure to meet you and your fiance. Best of luck with the
I appreciate everybody for watching and taking time.
Dude,
and if anybody needs to get a hold of me, TaylorCavanaugh.com. I don't outsource anything. No AI. So all those contact information goes right to me.
Perfect. And you can hit wherever you're watching this, click the links below. It's going right to your website, your social media and everything.
Cool, man.
I have a lot more to learn from you, as does everyone listening.
Dude, I got more to learn from you guys too, man. Yeah, really, you guys got a really good thing going on here.
Oh yeah, brother. All right, man. Appreciate you.